What's up, everyone? Hello, happy Monday. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
Good.
I'm in a sweater. It's chilly out, so I'm happy.
It is a little brisk this morning, which is awesome.
I love it.
So do I. Today we're talking about, I'm excited for this topic, and I don't know why, because it doesn't even relate. Well, it relates to hair industry, but it doesn't really relate to us directly. But today we're going to talk about why suites and booth renters struggle, and hopefully we can come up with some stuff to help people. It's
great.
one of the things that I just keep seeing over and over again. And so I think we can help people out there.
I would agree.
Yeah. But as always, we always start with our opening takes. So, yeah. What do you got, Jen?
So my opening take, I'm going to title it Real Education. And here's what I mean by that. Todd and I talk about education often because it's happening daily, if not every hour at our salon. But one of the things that I've learned over the past couple of years is...
I hate to interrupt you, but for people listening that don't know us or our salon, do you want to explain why that happened, why you just said what you said? Because people are probably like, bullshit.
Come on in for a day. So I have an apprentice, and in New Hampshire, you are allowed to have one apprentice at a time. It's a 3,000-hour program, and basically Hello Hair Co. is her school. So why I can stand behind that there's learning or education happening, if not, like I said, every hour, even by the minute, is because with Madison as my apprentice, she is being taught something all the time, or she's practicing all the time. She's always learning something.
It's open to the rest of our staff. If you're covering something that they want to brush up on or they find interesting, they're welcome to that education as well.
Yep. We just did a hands-on cutting class that I led for Madison, and Brooke and Jamie came because it's something they wanted to work on. So I worked with all three of them, which was great because then they worked together too. And they also got to see the outcome of the same way to approach a haircut and how, depending on where you hold the hair, how it can vary so much. So it was really awesome. There's so much learning to be had with things like that too.
Awesome.
So my real education is there is so much education out there that I think if you don't vet the process, you could basically be wasting your time, whether it's online education, something you pay for monthly, or stuff that's in your salon. It's really important to make sure the education you're picking to grow your skill set fits what you're trying to get out of it. There are a lot of people out there that would say their education is the best. Well, I mean, not everybody can be the best. I take it a step further, and I really love to bring in educators or education of people that are teaching and yet still behind the chair. That's one that's really important to me. And what I've seen over time is those that are teaching and doing hair behind the chair, they have a different perspective for stylists, hair pros throughout, because they're not just going to show you a haircut that they understand you'd never do on a client. That's a waste of your time. Cool, creative haircut, awesome, but I can't apply it. So someone who's applying hair daily behind the chair to their clients understands not only the trends that are happening year to year, but also what clients are asking for, because they're doing the same thing you're doing. So when they come into our salon, they're offering this whole new perspective of, here, let me show you something new, but let me show you something new that I apply daily when I'm at work. So it's received completely different. And from the staff perspective, they're excited to learn from someone that's doing what they're doing, but also able to show them how to do it even better. So this weekend, we hosted a curly haircutting class. It's something that Todd and I were putting together since the beginning of the year. So you're talking, we're into September. Actually, it's October 1st. So this was a process to get this all organized together. This is something that we've never done where we're taking on the whole financial responsibility. We flew Addis out. We paid for the hotel, the car, and the education for the staff. So there was a lot relying on this. One thing was just like, will it meet the expectations for the cost that we're spending, right? And then will the staff embrace Addis and the education she's bringing in? I believed all of it would work out, but there's always an unknown and a possibility that it doesn't level up to where you want. We were blessed with Addis to come to the salon and teach with a live model, and then we had mannequins, and every single staff member from Madison, who's my apprentice, to senior staff at Hello Hair learned something. And here's where the win comes. You know your staff learned something when the next day they're behind the chair, they're applying it and sharing pictures to celebrate themselves that they're so proud. And we've had numerous amounts of that. It's so exciting to see. They all at the end were thanking Todd and I for bringing Addis in, thanking Addis. It was a wonderful experience. We all learned something, not only from how to cut curly hair, how to style it, how to use certain products, how to use certain brushes, just things that we don't always think about. And also how to take a minute to really look at someone's hair and cut their hair for them. So we'll be able to take that curly hair cutting class and apply it to all the clients that we see, not just curly hair. But I advise you, if you're bringing in educators or you're supporting your staff with education, to make sure it's truly what first they're interested in and that it's really going to deliver so they feel like their time is worth it.
Good?
Good.
Okay. I wasn't sure. You just went off there. Awesome. Yeah, it was a great time. My opening take is going to be really short. I'll keep it super simple. You have to take accountability. If you want to be a business owner, you got to take accountability. If you want to do anything in life that makes any sort of impact, you've got to take accountability. And one of the things I saw the other day was somebody had posted, they were a commission stylist for ever, and they had a falling out with their owner, and they're 1 year into renting their suite because they left. And they're really struggling because the owner where they worked a year ago had talked trash about her to her clients, so she lost a bunch of clients. And I just was thinking to myself, this is a year later. What have you been doing in that year? Why are you blaming someone else? You haven't taken any accountability. You're still a year later blaming somebody that's not even in your life anymore.
Right. You haven't progressed.
You haven't progressed. And I think that's this is actually a good segue. I think this is a great way to showcase why so many people are struggling in their suite or in their booth rental situation or whatever. And I want to reiterate, I say this every time we talk about this topic, we are not anti-rent. We are not anti-suite. We are not hybrid model. We're not any of those things. I think my own 2 cents is that any of those models can work under the right circumstances, but it definitely can't be blaming other people for what's going on. And we've seen that from a lot of people that have left Hello, even that have gone on and they're not doing hair or they're really struggling or whatever. And again, I'll reiterate this. We do not want to see that. If you decide to move on from Hello, we generally give you a high five and, wish you luck. I don't know. I don't know what I was going to say next, but
I always look at that as an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, so for us, yeah, what I was going to say is I'm never like salty. I generally am like, I wish this person would have seen what we're offering. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I've
well, we always say we can't want more for people than they want for themselves.
Right. And this isn't a commercial for commission salons. Actually, I'll point this out. Next week, we're going to talk about why commission salons owners and commission stylists struggle. So we're going to have, this is almost like a 2-part episode.
Love it.
And I just think that there's a better way to look at stuff. And I think people need to start looking at, well, for one is taking accountability, but
absolutely
the other thing is, let's dive in. Let's just jump into this since we're already rolling, right? What do you think? Do you have any problems that you see with off the top of your head that are issues for people that are suite renters?
Well, they don't know how to run a business. They haven't done their numbers. They don't know what they need to make either per client or per month for the square footage, their overhead. They've most likely just taken wherever they left and kept the same prices or lowered them. They didn't look at the overall picture of what it is to run a business, even as a suite. So as a solo independent owner, you still have to know what's your bottom line? How much money do you need to bring in? What does it cost you? So when people will be like, oh, what should I charge for a haircut? Or the big one I see is like, who does extensions out there? What do you charge for? What I charge and what you charge are extremely different numbers because my overhead is extremely different than your overhead. So they don't match. So when you're looking at what you should charge for a haircut, well, how long does it take? What are you paying out for that? And work it backwards. You say that all the
How many
time.
service hours available per week, per month, per year?
Yeah. And then at the end of the day, what do you want to make? What do you want to take home? Now we can work it back. And if you can't use that haircut to begin with, because maybe it's too high because you've taken on more than you even realize, then we need to find mini jumps to get you to that haircut so that you're profitable.
What do you mean it's too high? The amount you need to make is too high? And
Yes. The amount you need to charge in order to be profitable could be higher than you would, I'm going to assume, is higher than you realize. So you're losing money on certain services and you're wondering
gotcha.
why you're not making 100% of your money, which is also not a thing, but where you're not maybe as profitable as your friend told you you would be. And that's because you don't know how to work the numbers with the profit to get where you want to be. You're just guessing and you're like, oh, I'm just going to throw it in the universe and hopefully I'm successful. That is not running a business. That will not work. Maybe you're lucky for a little bit, but that will run out.
Yeah, I had math as my first problem too, because everyone knows I'm a list person. So I have lists for these shows. I think a common problem, or the most common problem, is people look at the rent and they go, oh, my rent is $300 a week. Anything over that I get to keep. I can do that. I can do $600 and make $300. You know what I mean? Or I can do $1,000 and keep $700. That's how they look at it.
Right.
And that's not true. I think we talked about specific breakdowns recently on an episode. I don't remember what episode it was called or how far back, but if I think of it, I'll put it in the show notes as a link. But there's so many more things. You've got your insurance, credit card fees, your back bar, laundry, if you got to do laundry, software, your marketing, which we're going to get into hopefully next, because that's a huge one. Did I say taxes? Taxes. Did I say
Woo-hoo.
education? Because education's still going to be on there. Events, community events, to stay involved with the community, because when you're on your own, you're not going to have that just naturally around you. I know everyone says that, you know, this salon is, we're a big community, or we're this or we're that. Well, then why are so many people complaining about lack of community? I think what owners, or what booth rental owners are putting out there, and the reality of what's happening in these salons are two different pictures, depending on who you look at. Because we see the flip side too. We see, I can't find renters, and when I do, they don't fit my culture. Well, yeah, it's hard to impose a culture on somebody that wants to be independent. That's counter sort of intuitive in a way. So how do you fix that stuff? You do the stuff Jen said. You've got to work your math backwards. How much money do you want to make needs to be included in that, which is profit. How much money do you want to have left over, not just from doing hair? And this all really breaks down to, you can figure out there's a million online formulas and calculators and coaches and gurus and masters that'll tell you their method's the best. But here's the deal. It all breaks down to percents. So you didn't want to be a commission employee. Now you're a commission suite owner, because you've got to factor in what the cost to pay yourself. And that's probably going to be somewhere in the 40 to 50% range if you're lucky.
Right. Yeah.
So what I would do is I would add everything up. I think I put this recently in a newsletter. I did a cost calculator, a cost analysis or whatever. And it was just, you have to add up all of your fixed costs. So literally everything that you're paying out, and then you have to divide. And you have to figure out how many hours of services you're providing per week, per month, however you want to look at it, per quarter, per year. It doesn't matter. And then you've got to break that down into, I need to be producing, say, $100 per hour over the course of this week for 24 hours or however many hours you work. And then you minus all your stuff to double check. And here we are. We're at this point.
Once you do this too, it makes it a lot easier when bringing on either new services or new products, or things. So say your rep comes in like, oh, you have to try this new conditioning treatment, whatever. And they're going to give you a suggested price. Well, you need to do your math of what you need to make so that you can figure out what you should be charging. It happens all the time because they don't understand, like, that's cool that that's what's suggested. But if I charge that, I'm making basically $2 on this service. So that wouldn't make sense. But once you do the math, and you look at like, oh, I would love to bring in this, I'll just use conditioning treatment, this conditioning treatment for my clients. It's something that it's a problem that I've been seeing often. So this is a great solution to solve this problem for my clients. Great. Now you'll work back. Okay, this is what it costs me per service. This is what I want to make. And then now you know how to price out how to charge your client, and you're not guessing, and you feel good about that, and there's a confidence behind it. And you know now that when you do that service, you're making X amount of dollars.
One of the things you can do without getting into too much detail here, I'll try to keep this brief, is just to create an effective hourly rate for yourself. At what hourly rate are you making the money you want to make? Great. Now, if a service is less than that, it's something that you should consider eliminating if you can't raise the price to your effective hourly rate. And if for some reason your services are all over the place, say you're a la carte and they just aren't based on time at all, they're just based on whatever, they're probably based on something you saw another salon do. But if it's over that effective hourly rate, then you know you're doing a little better during that time. So that's just an easy way to look at that stuff. That's basically what we do at Hello. It's a breakdown. Everyone has their effective hourly rate and for a couple different scenarios, and boom, done. What other problems do people have? I think the next biggest one is what? Go ahead. Marketing. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So nobody knows you exist. Nobody at all. And I know people out there are like, well, I use social media. And I want to break that down in 1 second, the social media misconception. But what you really need to be doing is you need to be engaging the clients that you do have. The people that you're already selling to are the easiest people to sell to again, which means
they believe in you.
Correct. Which means their friends, their colleagues, their people in their circles are going to be like-minded. So if you can attract those people, now you're in business. Where before you're just like, why aren't people coming in? Why aren't people? I've tried all this stuff. Why aren't clients coming in? I've tried offering discounts. It doesn't matter if you offer a discount if nobody knows you exist. Nobody's seeing that discount.
Right.
And I want to break down why people aren't seeing it, but give me a second. Let's start with things that people can do or why they're invisible online. So you're invisible because you don't have a Google business profile. What about that? It's free. Why do you not have that? If I can't find you on Google, it's going to be really hard to find you everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
What about reviews? Reviews are so easy to get. You know what you can do to get reviews? Hey, Michelle, I hope you like your hair. Would you mind leaving me a review? I'm really trying to grow my clientele. If you can't do that, or if you're somebody that's like, oh, that's really awkward to me, you shouldn't be running a business because that is part of running a business. That's a basic part of it.
It also means you're not connecting with your clientele.
Yeah.
Because if you're not connected, then that's weird. But if you are connected and there's a really great relationship there, it is not difficult at all.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So getting reviews is a huge one. And the other thing is your social media. Your social media cannot be a shot of the back of the head with no call to action and some arbitrary language like, fall vibes or whatever. That's cute, but you're marketing or you're trying to get the wrong people. And I'll break that down in 1 second.
Well, now you're in business, so you have to be more professional. You're trying to attract clients. Where when you are under like a commission salon, to me, then your Instagram or your social media is just your walking business card because the business that you're working for should be doing all the marketing. But now you're doing it. So your social media has to look professional like you are running a business.
Yeah, for sure. So what are the fixes to these? And then I want to break down some social media numbers. But the first one we talked about was you Google My Business or Google Business Profile, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Claim that.
And that's free.
It's free, yeah. Go on, claim it, create it, add some photos, add a booking link, add your services, add service descriptions. You can add FAQs on there, frequently asked questions. You can add a ton of stuff. If you don't think that's important, I will tell you right now, it is more important of a strategy than social media. And I don't care what anybody says. That's the reality. That's every grouping, every bunch of numbers that I've seen, all the metrics that I've seen from tons of different websites, not just like Google, but a lot of marketing websites will tell you that search engines are the biggest bang for your buck. I'm not even talking about paid ads. That's probably a good idea too, but you'll probably, if you're not doing marketing already, you'll probably need to hire somebody to do that. So that's probably a little down the road thing. The second thing we talked about was the reviews. So how do you fix that problem? I don't have any reviews. Well, get some. You've got to consistently ask for clients for reviews. That's as simple as it gets. Don't bribe people for reviews. That is frowned upon by Google and can get your Google listing taken down. So don't do that. But what I would recommend doing is setting yourself a goal. Say your goal is, I want 5 new reviews per week. Well, not 100% of people are going to remember. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they don't even want to leave a review for you. It's that people forget because we're going on along our days. And I know we all like to think we're the center of everybody's world, but we're not. The second the person's outside of your chair, outside of your salon or your suite, they're not thinking about you anymore. They're just not. They're thinking about what's for dinner. I got to pick my kids up. I got to get Gwen's saxophone. She forgot this morning. I've got to go over here. I've got to pick her up. I've got to get to gymnastics. And that's just one kid, not 3. Just saying, people out there.
I'd even say, like, so if the review thing, you're like, where do I start? Pick your clients that you vibe with the most. Like, make it authentic, right? Start with them. They already love you, so they're going to do it. They'll be like, dang, yeah, of course. That takes me 2 seconds. And do it so, like, we have up a QR code. They can, while they're processing or getting their haircut, they can do it right then and there. And they'll look at you and they'll be like, done. You're like, oh, awesome. That was easy. And then once you get like some movement with that, you'll be like, oh, this is really easy. And you can then ask more clients. But start with your faves. They want to celebrate.
What I was going to say is set yourself a goal. So say, what did I say? 5? And not 100% of people are going to remember. So maybe that means you're asking 20 clients a week to get that 5. Don't ask 5 clients. Always be proactive. Always overshoot your goals. Like I said, if you need 5, you're probably going to have to ask 20 people if you're good. Because that's, is what it is. Like, again, because people just forget. And then social media, before we dive into some numbers, but share stories. Why is this person happy that they came to you? Because that's what connects. People when you look at marketing, people tie an emotion to that. And that's what makes you successful, if you're able to tie an emotion to it.
And hair brings out emotions.
Show stories with people's faces. Have posts with people's faces. But Todd, my clients don't want to show their faces. Then ask different clients. It's on you to figure it out. Again, take accountability. Don't blame the clients that don't want to show their faces. Find the ones that do. Celebrate them. Make them feel famous. Make them feel like a celebrity. Tell them how excited you are to have done their hair and how excited. Get in the picture with them. How about that one? That's an easy win.
Mm-hmm.
But tell their story. And you can't tell somebody's story from the back of the head. You can't see their eyes. You can't see their expression. I have no idea what they look like back there. They could be crying.
Also, clients, when you do the back of the head, colorists see the color you're trying to showcase. A client just sees it really as probably one color, maybe 2. They're not getting out of that picture what you're hoping. But like if you want a hairdresser to be like, whoa, that looks so good, they're going to see what you're trying to showcase. A client doesn't see that. Where if you show somebody smiling, they get a feel and then they're like, I want to feel that. And that hair color looks really cool. And then you're like, now what do I do?
For sure. So let's break down, because a lot of people think, well, I post on Instagram every day, but clients aren't coming in. So let's break down how many people are following. Let's pick 1,000. So you're a suite renter and you have 1,000 followers.
Okay.
What does that look like? So let's break this down. Where are my notes here? Hold on one second. Oh, here we go. And the reason I chose 1,000 is because it's just an easy number to break down, right? I don't care how many followers. If you have 100 followers, we're going to talk in percents here. So it's going to be just as easy to look at. So you hit 1,000 followers and you think, even if 10% of these people book with me, that's 100 clients. I'm all set. I'm good to go. But let's look at 1,000 followers and what's likely happening. So out of that 1,000 followers, 40% are probably other hair pros. So there's 400 people.
I was going to say 50. So that's funny.
So I looked online and it's hard to put averages on stuff. So I look across a bunch of stuff and then I just average it out. So for someone out there, they're going to be like, no, I barely have any hair pros that follow me. Great. The majority of people do. And the majority of people probably, like you said, Jen, have 40 to 50% of people that follow them are hair pros. Mm-hmm. That's 400 people off the bat that, you met in school, you met at classes, you just networked online. They're never going to book with you. They'll like and comment,
They're your cheerleaders.
which just tricks you into thinking that your marketing's working. But it's not, because they're never going to book with you. Now let's take out another 30%, which is another 300 people that are your friends, your family, all that stuff, right? These are just supportive people, but they're probably getting their hair done for cheap by you or for free by you,
Right.
or they live too far away. And they'll hit like on every single post, but that doesn't put clients in your chair. So again, you're kind of tricking yourself into thinking that, now out of the 1,000, 700 of those, give or take, are people that are never going to book with you, but are giving you love. Then you have people that are following you for like nostalgia. These are like old time friends, people you went to high school with. Maybe it's even on Facebook, I see people that follow like teachers that we went to high school with or whatever, right? So that's maybe another 20% of people. They're mostly just lurking. They're not even engaging with your stuff. They follow you because they know who you were 10 years ago. They knew you as a kid, so they follow you. And so that leaves you with 10%. So that's your real target audience. And those are the people that actually might sit in your chair. But here's where it gets interesting with social media, stuff like Instagram. Only 2 to 6% of people even see your post.
I was just going to say, even if they just even see your post.
So if you have 1,000 followers, that means 2 to 6 people maybe saw your post.
Now you know why.
That are relevant clients. And you can be like, yeah, right, Todd, 50% of people see my post. But we just broke down how many of those don't matter. So out of 1,000 people, your posts are reaching maybe 20 to 60. And out of that group, those people that are really ready to book, maybe that's even lower than that 2 to 6%. Right. So you're talking let's stick with the 2. You're talking 2 to 3 people that maybe see your post that are actually looking to book a haircut out of 1,000. So that strategy needs to change. I think people you can do lots of stuff. I think one of the big things is storytelling, like we mentioned, telling the story of your clients. Why are your clients happy? Well, hey, Michelle was going to her high school reunion and she was nervous. So I was able to chat her through this and we gave her a new hairstyle. And now she's going to her high school reunion confident and she can't wait to see Brad there and hopes that his wife left him and whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe a little aggressive there.
We're literally in reunion season too, I think.
Sorry, Brad. Oh, are we right now?
It's coming up.
Oh, yeah. I don't really follow reunion season, so I wouldn't know that.
It's usually the weekend of Thanksgiving. My client yesterday was in getting her hair done for her reunion. So.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yep. 20 years, I think she said.
Wow. So anyway, when you start to think about Instagram and social media, you've got to be aggressive with it if you want it to actually produce. And you have to find your target audience, which is not just posting the back of the head. I know I keep harping on that, but it's true. Because like Jen said, unless you're a colorist, if you post the back of someone's head, right? This is a crazy one to me. You post the back of someone's head with your hands holding the hair up and your comment is dimension. And maybe you put a magic wand emoji. What the hell does that even mean to somebody that doesn't know? First of all, that hair's not going to look like that when you let it go. Why are you holding it up? Right. That's always...
Again, you're advertising to other
hair pros. You're trying to get likes and comments, and
which isn't going to grow your business. Now, remember, you're now running a business. This isn't just for fun anymore. You have to run a business.
Right. If you're doing social media for fun, sure. Do whatever you want. No one cares. But if you're trying to be effective with your marketing, or you think you're effective with your marketing, but you're posting on Facebook groups, I can't get any clients, maybe you should you should switch things up a little bit. I think mindset is something that people get twisted, or goals even, maybe. Because people just see like, oh, it's freedom. I'll own my own business and I can do whatever I want. That's not really true. You are in the service industry for starters, so you are now responsible for being of service to your clients. And that often means for booth and suite renters that want a penny pinch, and I'm not saying penny pinching is bad, not saying bootstrapping is bad. I'm just saying you're facing an uphill battle. So if you don't want to do things like invest in a good software that will allow your clients to book, then your phone's going to be freaking blowing up and you're going to have to deal with that. And then you're going to post online, how do you guys set boundaries? My clients are blowing my phone up. Well, you wanted to run a business.
Right.
You need to set up systems. Even if you're just a one-chair shop, you still need systems in place to protect yourself. Or else you're doing literally everything. And you already are doing everything. It's just that some of the stuff can be like a software booking system is a massive relief to a business because your clients can, and it doesn't, if you're by yourself, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. You don't need super powerful software, but you should have something. How many people, Jen, do you talk to that still don't have booking software?
A large percentage.
I've seen numbers around 50% of salons still don't have booking software. That is insane to me.
And part of it is they just look at all the flaws. Like, well, what if this? What if that? I'm like, you're missing out on so many people booking with you. I'm not sure why you're worried about the few people that aren't going to book the right service.
What about this? You do a consultation and then you just adjust the service.
Or you just pay attention. Yeah.
Back to mindset. When you go off on your own, you probably, your first thought was, now I can just do hair and be happy, but you're no longer just a hair pro. You're no longer just a stylist or a barber behind the chair. You're also the marketer. You're the administrator. You're the tax preparer because you don't want to hire an accountant. You're all the things, right? You're the cleaner.
I think the mindset one is really big because what you're saying is like, yeah, I just get to design a logo and make a pretty space. Yep, you do get to do that. But that wears off really quickly when you realize all the other things you have to do. You are now in charge. You're the manager. So you have to deal with the redos. You have to deal with the client complaints. You have to deal when anything goes wrong. You have to be the cleaner in your salon. There's so many other things than just picking out your logo and making a pretty space that doesn't resonate with running a business. So those things are fun, but those aren't the things you should be spending your time or your energy in growing yourself to get ready to run a business. And I think sometimes when we, make a list of all the things you have to do, most people are like, that's way too much stuff. Well, you're running a business. You got to do a lot of stuff. If that's too hard for you, you might want to rethink that because working under another, like a commission salon, you don't have to do any of that. You can just be creative and have fun. But otherwise, you're signing up to do all of the things.
Yeah. So how often have you heard somebody say, well, if I'm a business owner, I need to know all the answers, or I need to have all the answers, or I don't want to be asking questions.
No, you need to have a team in place.
Right. And so when you work by yourself, you likely don't have a team in place.
Right.
Which brings me to that's a mindset flaw. And the reason it's a mindset flaw is because you don't have any accountability. So if you're somebody that isn't showing up on time for your clients at a commission salon, how are you thinking that that's going to change when nobody's looking for you?
Right. Probably going to get worse.
It's probably going to get worse. You have no one to hold you accountable because you don't have any mentorship because you think you're supposed to know everything. I see people that go off on their own that are just like, I've heard it a million times. Probably not a million. Probably hundreds, not a million. That's a really large number. But I've heard it a bunch of times where people will say, I don't want to ask questions because then people won't think I know what I'm doing. No, it's pretty clear you don't know what you're doing.
Most intelligent people ask the most questions.
For sure.
Or surround themselves with the people who know the stuff they don't need to know. That's how we do it, right? I don't need to be the accountant. I don't need to be the lawyer. I don't need to be the bank person giving the loans. I just need to know who to call when I need that stuff.
You need to have structure. That's a lot of it breaks down to you need to have structure. It's when we talked about the marketing, your marketing needs structure. When we talked about the math, your math needs structure. We're talking about mindset right now, your mindset needs structure. So when you have freedom without structure, you're going to have chaos because you don't necessarily know what you're doing. Not that that's bad. It's just that you don't know. Again, not anti any of this stuff, but if you're somebody that's looking for help, you should find somebody that can help you form some structure within your business. Right. Even if you're on your own, you should have the foundations that Jen and I talk about all the time. You need a mission, you need a vision, you need core values. Those are the things that are going to guide your decision-making processes along the way.
And it keeps your business cohesive.
Yes. So that way, when you're approached about something, you can just look at your core values. Does that help? Does that align with your core values? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Yes or no? That should answer if you do it or not. Does it push you towards your vision? Does making this choice move me closer to my vision, have no impact, or set me back. It should be really easy. But if you don't have that stuff in place, and if you don't truly believe in it, you're going to struggle because you're operating under chaos. I like the chaos word. Maybe we should call this chaos episode.
Okay.
So let's talk about some things people can do real quick before we wrap up. Kind of a rescue plan. So I have things broken down into sort of 90 days. The first couple weeks, devote to getting your Google stuff set up, Google business posts. Upload the photos there. You can upload photos so that when people search hairstylist near me and you pop up, or don't pop up because you don't have this, but when you do have it, you pop up and someone goes, oh, Jen Ford Hair Productions. Cool. That's all it says. Now, if you put some photos there, now people are like, oh, I like this work. Oh, that person looks happy. These people look like they're having a really good time. This is fun. Now there's an emotion tied to it. And now somebody goes, I might book with this, or I might follow this person. So now you're increasing the people that are following you on other platforms and increasing your odds of finding clients that are actually going to sit in your chair. The other powerful thing we said there is reviews. Just send some text messages to your past, say 30 clients, or say your past 2 weeks of clients. Send a text message with a link. Hey, I really appreciate our time together. I would love if you left me a review. I'm really trying to grow my business so that I can continue to provide services for you. Some of them will, some of them won't. Some of them will forget. Some of them will go, oh, shoot, next time they see you, I meant to leave you a review. I totally forgot. That's fine. Pull it up right now. Push them, right? Yeah. That's what our staff does because we'll do stuff where we go through phases where we're like, all right, let's get some reviews. And it's always a lot of fun. Over the next couple weeks after that, work on reaching out to your clients. Find clients that, and if you have a good software, this should be able to do this for you, but identify the clients that haven't been in for a while. Maybe they've just fallen off. Maybe they forgot to book. Maybe something came up and now they're like, shoot, how do I, whatever, right? Because think about it through their eyes, not your eyes. Reach out. Hey, I have some spots that opened up. I haven't seen you in a while. You want to grab one of these? And if you're like, that's awkward, well, I don't know what to tell you at that point.
You're running a business.
You can work on them.
Time to get uncomfortable.
You can work on your rebooking. I know that you work for yourself now and you don't have any KPIs that you have to meet and you're not sitting down in meetings talking about rebooking percentages, but they're still valid. So if you're not rebooking your clients and you're letting them leave without rebooking, you should rethink that strategy. Maybe you launch a referral program. I don't know what that looks like and we don't have time to break it down. So figure out a referral program and offer that to clients. Hey, send me in your friends, send me in your colleagues, send me in whoever, friends and family, doesn't matter. Again, those are people that are likely going to connect with you because if you are connecting with your clients or you love your clients and you really like get excited to see them. Like I know I have clients that I get excited when they're in my book. I'm like, I can catch up with this person. I want to see how their puppy's doing, or they just had a kid. I want to see how that's going, or whatever. They started a new job and I'm excited to catch up with them. Well, odds are if you're excited about that person, seeing that person, the people in their friend and family group are going to be similar. So you'll be able to connect with them as well. Next few weeks after that, you could create some sort of, maybe this goes on your social media, or maybe you start a newsletter where you talk about caring for your hair. You talk about a plan. So if you're doing blonding, for example, maybe it's, you're going to want to come in every, help me out, Jen, what would it be? 8 to 12 weeks?
Sure.
So 8 to 12 weeks. Here's what you can do at home in between. So now you're staying in front of people. You do a newsletter, you put a photo on there or not. My newsletter doesn't have a photo, and you just break things down. Hey, here's my booking link. If you didn't book your appointment for 8 to 12 weeks already, go ahead and do that now. Also, here's what you can do in the meantime. You can use this shampoo. You can use this. This is going to help your color. You can avoid these things. Whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you're in front of people. And then that's another thing. Now you own that email list as you start to build that email list, because if Instagram ever disappeared, you still have your email list. So you can still reach those people.
Whoa.
Yeah. You can even add a link for retail. hey, here's the product I recommended. If you didn't pick it up then because it wasn't the right time and you want it now, here's the link. Use code Todd for 10% off, whatever, however you want to do it. Or maybe you partner with a local business and you want to do some cross promotions. Again, I don't know what that looks like, but do that. And then once you have your marketing stuff set, spend a few weeks working on auditing your timing, auditing your pricing. Maybe you can create some sort of packages. I know memberships are popular right now. Maybe you're creating packages so that people don't have to think. Now you're marketing to a higher end client. So maybe that package looks like you're just bundling things like, maybe you have somebody that wants, well, let's just stick with blonding. So this is what the service looks like. This is what products I recommend you take home that day. This is aftercare. You're going to get a follow-up email. People love that stuff. And then just track, rinse, and repeat. No pun intended. Actually, pun intended. So yeah, but those are the things that I would do to start to rescue your business. I think those could really help. Do you have anything else, Jen? What did I miss?
I think that's a great start. You don't want to be too much and you're too overwhelming.
Well, if you're out on your own in a suite and you're struggling a year later, you need to be too much. It's you already went through the phase where you could have made big changes by compounding, but you likely don't have time now. Right. So unfortunately, I agree with you, you don't want to be overwhelmed, but it's too late. If you want to rescue your business,
you got to start now.
You're going to have to do all the things because you're responsible for all the things. And that starts with accountability. I love when I can tie it back into my opening take.
Oh, that's awesome.
And education too. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah. Nice try.
All right. So if you want more details or more things broken down for you, jump on our email list. You can get there through the links in the show notes or reach out or whatever. Reach out on Instagram. I'll be there. I'll post a picture of the back of my head and just write.
Call it salt and pepper.
Just write newsletter.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Salt and pepper newsletter in the back of my head.
There it is.
That'll be effective. It's all in good fun, people.
Let me know how that goes.
If you need any more help, though, reach out. We're always happy to chat with people, get them on the right track if we can.
Our goal is to help.
All right. I think that's it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Bye.